Welcome class, this is Unit 9, using supply chains to create value for customers. So what is the supply chain? It includes all of the organizations that impact products before, during, and after their production. Designing, monitoring, and altering these organizations is called supply chain management. In progressive companies, the term value chain is used to signify the important role they play, sometimes used interchangeably with the term value chain. Sourcing and procurement. Sourcing is when you evaluate and hire your suppliers. Procurement is purchasing the goods and services from those suppliers. So an example of this is when Ford sourced tires from Goodyear and Michelin, and Ford purchased tires from them. So sourcing would be evaluating and hiring Goodyear and Michelin, and then they decide to purchase their tires from them. What is outsourcing and why? Everybody has heard about this, and it's when an organization hires another organization to do a task previously performed by a firm. Sometimes outside organizations can provide more value and they can provide more cost effectiveness. Outside organization may provide products and services in a more timely manner. So outsourcing would be, an example would be if a department store needed to sell their clothing, they might have a manufacturer that creates those clothing in a manufacturing warehouse or company overseas in another country, because the cost of labor to manufacture those goods would be at a more cost-effective uh, amount than it would be to have the actual manufacturer do it here in the United States. Offshoring, outsourcing work to companies located overseas. This is what a majority of Nike products are made overseas in China, Indonesia, and Vietnam. Supply chain functions offshore. The majority of Nike products are made in China, Indonesia, and Vietnam. This is a percentage, just an example of the percentage of what happens overseas. So the manufacturing is 42%, warehousing and transportation, 37%, procurement, that's the selling, remember the purchasing of the product. Returns and customer service are both same with the procurement. Supply chain planning, usually that's done here at the main location. And then product development. Product development can happen overseas or at the offshore locations, but not as much as they would be developed here or at the main location. There are risks when you outsource your labor. You do lose some control, and this has a consequence on the quality and safety, quality of your product, safety of your workers. Because as you offshore your manufacturing or warehousing and transportation, you also have to think about, okay, so those companies are also working with my product, which is under my brand, under my name, under the business name. So they're representing your business as well. The quality, more than 1/5 of companies experience quality problems when outsourcing. Safety, redundant safety checks may be necessary. And they say it is really important now, more so now, because it's easier to gather information about companies, different businesses today than it was maybe 10 or 15, 20 years ago. The internet, you can find information on the internet so fast. And it's really important that those offshore locations are showing safe practices. They're not using child labor. That happened to many high-end brands in the late 90s, early 2000s. They were caught um, with their warehouses in different countries utilizing child labor. So it's really important that you realize that when you decide to outsource. Social responsibility and outsourcing. Your business's social responsibility is the societal well-being, not just for profits. Environmental sustainability is the least impact on the environment. So not only do you have to worry about whether or not you're hiring children to manufacture your clothing, you also have to figure out whether these warehouses, manufacturing locations overseas are impacting the environment in a positive way, or if the impact is more negative and will show a negative impact on your company's environmental sustainability. Why are firms going green? All of you know that is to achieve regulatory compliance. A lot of um, the government regulations are geared towards businesses realizing that they need to clean up after themselves. They need to utilize cleaner methods of manufacturing to fulfill the customer's requirements. A lot of people are recognizing that um, different things need to be done to keep our environment like livable and clean and sustainable for the next generation. To improve the company's image, yes, of course, that's why they go green. To increase the customer's confidence and to differentiate the firm from its competitors. The A lot of companies and organizations are going green, so the differentiation is a little bit less than it was maybe, let's say, in the early 90s. But right now, everybody wants to go green. Even different laws and bills are being passed that are causing businesses such as the automobile industry to change their manufacturing of their automobiles to create more um, sustainable vehicles. So, yeah, differentiation is really hard now because everybody is doing it. Other outsourcing concerns. The logistics of transporting and storing can be complex, takes time for products to make it back to the home market, reduces responsiveness. The workforce policies of companies in developing countries can be poor. Some concerns lead to insourcing or moving activities back in-house. And that could happen. Like if your business is seeing that in another country they allow young children to work in a warehouse or a manufacturing facility, you might think twice and say, okay, maybe I don't want to manufacture in that country. Matching sourcing and customer needs. Customers can determine outsourcing and insourcing strategies. The customer is the last link in the supply chain. Recycling and reclaiming programs require the customer's cooperation. Demand planning is the process of estimating how much a good or service a customer will buy. Hershey Company used COVID-19 case counts to determine where people were staying home and thus more likely to purchase its products. They routed more products to those areas. Production scheduling is the management of the resources, events, and processes needed to create an offering. And lead time is the amount of time it takes for a customer to receive a good or service once it's been ordered. Sourcing and forecasting. Sourcing decisions, when you decide which suppliers you're going to use, are generally made periodically. Forecasting decisions must be made more frequently. As an example, when President Trump imposed tariffs on foreign steel and aluminum in 2018, firms had to alter their sourcing and forecasting decisions. And that's important because um, businesses now, with the economy being in the condition it is right now, things are changing. So forecasting is really, really crucial at this moment in time. Where will a business be in a month or 2 months or a year, 5 years, 10 years? It's really important. Supply chain management. Supply chain managers consult with marketing managers and sales executives when they are generating demand forecasts. Firms also look to their supply chain partners to help them with their demand planning. In collaborative planning, forecasting, and replenishment, supply chain partners share information and coordinate their operations. Integrating the supply chain in planning. Supply chain visibility is the trend is clearly toward more shared information. So instead of holding on to information at the main location, we're sharing more information to our, let's say, the people that warehouse our products, the people that manufacture the products, even the retailers and the businesses that sell our products. Demand planning software synthesizes a variety of factors to better predict a firm's demand. Inventory control, the process of ensuring your firm has an adequate amount of products to meet customer needs. And the goal of inventory management is to avoid stockouts, which are run out of products customers want to buy. Like COVID-19, we saw toilet paper. Inventory terms. These are just terms that you want to think about when you're doing your quizzes. Safety stock, backup inventory that serves as a buffer in case of a surge in demand. Shrinkage, used to describe a reduction or loss in inventory due to shoplifting, employee theft, paperwork errors, and supplier fraud. Just-in-time inventory, a system in which a firm keeps very little inventory on hand. Instead, suppliers ship inventory as needed. Vendor managed inventory, the practice of having your suppliers manage your inventories. Mass customization. An example for mass customization is when Dell's inventory and production system allows customers to customize their computers. Dell keeps its inventory levels low, has components on hand which can be configured to suit customer preferences. And Dell is not the only one that does this. You can choose how much memory is on your Apple computers, what you want your Apple computers to have on that. Like you can get it with Microsoft 365 if you want, but at a higher price, of course, with each customization. And it's also done on HP computers, LG computers, all computers. Product training. The EPC, or electronic product code, similar to a barcode, only it is better because the number on it is truly unique. Then you that have RFID, you see that on mostly all products that you see in the stores. Even your cereals have it on them. It's the barcode, pretty much. It emits radio signals that can record and track shipments. Blockchain, digital ledger that provides a secure way of making and recording transactions. So here's some of your how RFID technology works. You have your tags, moves through the readers. This is another reader, scanner, goes to the warehouse, is stocked, and then gets on a truck, goes out to deliver the service. Warehouses are needed to accommodate supply and demand changes for products, trends towards smaller warehouses. So no longer are we seeing a lot of warehouses being built that are like several blocks long. Their businesses are trying to reduce the inventory so that they can save money. Because if they have a large amount of inventory but not the demand, then they're not making profit. Distribution centers are warehouses or storage facilities where the emphasis is on processing and moving goods onto wholesalers, retailers, or consumers rather than onto storage. So these are your similar to the Amazon warehouses that you see around Southern California. Those are distribution centers. This is how distribution centers function. They stock their stock keeping unit, SKU numbers, which are unique ID numbers used to find products. They use robots to pick these products, but sometimes there are people that pick products, but since everything is becoming automated, robots are starting to become the popular thing to use. Electronic data interchange, computer-to-computer document exchange, voice-enabled headsets, a computer tells workers from which shelves to pick products. Cross-docking used for products that spend little or no time in the warehouse, unloaded from a truck and pushed straight onto another truck. This is how cross-docking works. And you'll see this happening at Old Dominion. That's a trucking company here in Southern California in the United States. And maybe they have products coming from the East Coast. They come over here, but they need to deliver it to the location. But they're going to stop at the Old Dominion, maybe Old Dominion location first so that they can drop off those products and then it's picked up by the person that's gonna transport the company that's going to transport it to the manufacturer, to the retailer or wholesaler. Transportation, so logistics, the physical flow of materials in the supply chain. There's trucks, water, of course, shipping, cargo shipping, air, airplanes, railroads, pipelines, and this is the way that these products are brought from the manufacturer, producer, eventually to the consumer. So, first extra credit question here. Can you name a company that provides transportation to your local grocery store? And what type of transportation do they use? Do they use trucks? Do they use cargo ships? Do they use air, railroads, pipelines? So the question is, extra credit question, what company transports products to your neighborhood grocery store? And you can name the grocery store too. Track and trace systems electronically record the path shipments take. Most product shipments can be traced using GPS, RFID, Bluetooth, barcodes, QR codes. Consumers want to know where their products come from and when they will arrive. Companies are working to develop systems that may one day make it possible to trace all products, for example, by utilizing the Internet of Things and or blockchain technology. What is reverse logistics? Running products and materials backwards through the supply chain to extract value from them. So you get it from the retailing store, goes into the logistics system, um, and then goes back to the manufacturer for recycling. So electronics are examples, like the consumer takes their old electronics to their neighborhood electronics store or Walmart, or maybe they have an event like bring your old cell phones here and we'll recycle it. Then it goes back through the um, system, the supply channel. And we're at the end of this presentation. That was really fast. So if you have any questions, please contact me. And um, yeah, and make sure to look out for those extra credit questions. I'll be looking out for them also in my email. All right, have a good evening.